Greetings, I'm Vulkk. Today's video is about the short but fun solo campaign in Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm recording this on 17th of November after I've completed several times the campaign and I've completed my first live walkthrough series for the whole campaign, so you can actually watch it if you prefer, or you can play it for yourself if you've purchased the game. In this video, I would like to present you my thoughts of the campaign, what did I like, what I didn't like, and do I think it was worth the wait if you purchase the game just for the solo campaign. Obviously I didn't. I'm doing a little bit of multiplayer and I'll start doing a little bit more after I finish with the campaign, but it was a damn pleasant surprise. And let's begin this improvised short review with the duration. The duration of the campaign, if you know what you're doing and if you're experienced with shooters in general, first person or third person, you can actually complete it in 3.5 to 4 hours, especially if you've done it already and you know the encounters, the levels, and the enemy spawn points and such. If you don't, the duration is probably defaulting somewhere between 5 and 8 hours, with 8 being very, very pessimistic. But the duration is not really that important because the campaign is actually interesting. More on that later. Gameplay. Well, let's talk about the gameplay. It's a very typical Battlefront experience, if you ask me. Very typical compared to the multiplayer, if you've played the multiplayer beta in October. Here it's a lot more linear, of course, and when you have objectives, you have to go from point A to point B and then go back to point C, which might be next to point A, but you can't actually skip point B, if you get what I mean. But that's very, very typical for these kinds of single-player campaigns in typically multiplayer-oriented games. However, the campaign offers new, true, authentic Star Wars canon story, giving you not just hints, but actually real ideas and facts. What happens right after the destruction and explosion of the second battle of the second Death Star. Sorry, I'm a little bit enthusiast here. And it actually doubles to the more modern era, the future of Kylo Ren, and the next trilogy, which we are currently experiencing, episode 7, 8, and the upcoming 9. There is more. I don't know, 1 or 2 more chapters are promised to come in December's update, which will probably give us a little bit more details, hopefully, of what happens to the main characters after the campaign, or those that, spoiler alert, survived. And the other thing that I have to mention, it's actually related to the gameplay, the cinematics. Mind-blowingly, stunningly beautiful. Wow, absolutely amazing. I've spent so much time watching and rewatching the cinematic cutscenes that I've recorded for myself, and I'm preparing a full cinematic movie experience for you guys to be able to enjoy. Probably other channels have done that already, but who cares? I'm making that for myself and for my audience as well. The engagement, the personal engagement, is a little bit of a lackluster because this is a story-driven campaign. It's not an MMO, it's not an RPG where you actually make choices and the story can branch here and there. No, it's a story-driven, straightforward story, and you just get to experience what the developers have intended for you too. The sound as well, just like with the cinematics and the gameplay, is on a fantastic, very high, very accurate and realistic, for Star Wars I mean, level. Absolutely mind-blowing. All of these things combined, despite the fact that the campaign is a little bit predictable after the 4th or 5th mission, and it gets frustrating to some people as well because of its predictability. The combination of fantastic gameplay and very good-looking cinematics and sound effects makes it worthwhile for you to experience. Now, from this point on until the end of the video, there will be a ton of spoilers because I want to discuss a couple of, maybe more than a couple of key points from the story that actually I liked or didn't like. Now, let's start talking first about this predictability of the story. You start playing from the Empire's point of view, but very soon, for very good reasons, mind you, you defer and switch to the Rebel Alliance. Why? I'll leave you to discover that for yourself by either playing the game or watching my videos. Links are in the video description here. And another thing is that the campaign ends with a good surprise. What do I mean by surprise? One of the main characters dies, and that's Dell. He dies very painfully in the what I would consider the aftermath mission, because the last mission is the Battle of Jakku, where you actually get to experience some gameplay as Aiden Versio, and the last one you actually play through the eyes of Kylo Ren, who is in his prime, and Dell and Aiden are both elderly parents. It hasn't been actually explained, and I don't know if it's mentioned officially anywhere else, but I get a hint that their child might actually very well be Rey. You know, Rey, the same Rey from episode 7, 8, and 9. That Rey. Why not? Although it would be weird, how would they explain why Rey has such strong powers and connection to the Force, when both of the parents have nothing to do with the Force? Maybe, I don't know, touch of fate or something. Anyway, the story was worth playing very much, and I've enjoyed it on both difficulty levels that I've played. That's the Soldier, second difficulty level, and the Special Forces difficulty level. Now, I haven't played all the missions in Special Forces, but I have to tell you that the gameplay is exactly the same, except that it's a lot less forgiving, meaning that a couple shoots from normal troops can actually kill you. And now that I've mentioned your opponents, which are mostly troopers, and from time to time vehicles and some kinds of AT-AT or other kinds of walkers, they are very basic. There are no boss encounters in the game. The last, what is supposed to be a replacement of a typical boss fight, is when you're fighting on top of a flying Star Destroyer, which is about to be destroyed and all flaming and such. This is all very boring because it's a long episode at the end of the mission, and you're going through piles and piles of all kinds of troopers to reach Aiden's father and have that last conversation there. That's not the good part of the mission. The previous one, though, is by far my favorite so far, the Battle of Jakku. Not because we got to see bits and pieces of the Battle of Jakku in front of our eyes, but because of the way the mission was layered. You've got parts in the air, not in space, but above the sands of Jakku, and then you immediately have to jump down and do some objectives on the ground. After that, you go back to your TIE fighter, X-Wing, of course, and you go back into the air, do a little bit more destruction and aid someone in the air, then go back down on the ground. This kind of seamless switching on the move and in the same time in the same mission is really special, interesting, and engaging, I should say. Now, I don't know if it would make sense much of my words if you haven't seen or played through the campaign, but I guess the bottom line is the campaign is totally worth it. It's probably not worth paying $80 because the $20 extra you're paying for the deluxe edition is just supporting EA and DICE and the other two studios, Motive and Criterion, for creating a very good game. Don't support EA, they don't deserve it. But if you just want to experience the campaign, I actually think that if you can afford it, the normal retail price of $50 at the release at the release date might actually be worth for you if you're a Star Wars junkie like I am. And of course, in a month or two, especially with the controversy and all rage that is going all over the forums, internet, and specifically on Reddit these days, it's very possible that just like Andromeda, very soon Battlefront 2 will get discounted and sales will open up. But look out when the game becomes cheaper. If you're only interested in the campaign, it's absolutely worth to see it and experience it for yourself. Tell me, what do you think about the story? Obviously, if you've seen or played through it already, you would have an opinion. Did you like it? Did you not? And while on the subject of liking or disliking, what do you think of the game as a whole? Have you tried multiplayer yet? What do you think of the star card system? Are you happy that... Well, actually, it's several hours before this video is released, DICE announced crystals purchased through real-life credits in-game will be currently disabled for the time being until they work on fix for the current system and make it work better. They claim that they've heard all of the complaints and the rage from the community. What's going to happen from all of this, I don't know, but the big news is that currently the microtransactions are offline and not available in the game. So DICE is promising that any kind of progress you make will be through gameplay and not through loot crates that you buy with real-life credits, which makes the game pay to win. It's your turn now. Go into the comments. I'm gonna start reading. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video.